Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the December 13th Directors Business Meeting of the Roseburg Public Schools. At this time, I would like to ask Dr. Jill Weber to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure you were awake. Okay. Just a couple housekeeping rules before we get started. Reminder to the board members with this new system, make sure you turn the microphone on, and then when you're done, turn it off. And some housekeeping rules for the audience. If you have a cell phone, could you please turn it off or silence it? Do we have anybody from the news media here tonight? Okay. We will have public participation a little later on in the meeting. And if you want to speak tonight, you'll need to fill out a card that's up on this table. You'll have 2 minutes to speak. So kind of, if you're going to speak, kind of have it in your mind, 2 minutes goes pretty fast. So that's public participation. And our meetings are always on Zoom, the business meetings. And tomorrow, this meeting will be archived. So where all of our meetings, business meetings are. So it's kind of cool to go back and look at those. So at this time, and I'm having to wear Janet's glasses because I left mine in Eugene. They're awfully pretty. We're going to ask Principal Thompson from Hillcrest, where's she at? To come up, and as she makes her way up, we would like, as the board, we would like to thank the Hillcrest staff and our central office staff for preparing for this meeting tonight. And at 4:45, we took a tour of Hillcrest, and it's an amazing school. And the artwork that the kids have worked on for the holiday season was pretty impressive. And this is a really great school. So Principal Thompson, it's your turn.
Okay. I want to be over there. Do I have to stand over here? Oh, that's okay. All right. So go ahead and click. I think so. It sounds like it is. Yeah. So our school, who we are, there are 400 plus students that go to Hillcrest. There are 3 classrooms at each grade level, K through 5. We have about 25 certified staff and about 25 classified staff who work here at Hillcrest. We have, in addition to our regular classrooms, we have a few special programs. We have the Learning Resource Center, which is special education for kids. That's the one we saw in the middle on the tour for kids who just need 20 or 30 minutes of math, reading, writing instruction, and then they go back to their regular classroom. We have the Developmental Learning Center, which is a new program here at Eastwood. Oh, geez. I was at Eastwood last year. A new program here at Hillcrest. It was new last year. The location has been moved this year, and new teaching staff. And so that is pretty exciting, and the program is definitely developing. We have a pilot program here this year, which is called the Emerging Kindergarten. It is a special it's not. Is it special education also? Yes, it's special education, but it is a program for students who weren't quite ready for general education kindergarten, and so they needed kind of like a transition time into regular kindergarten, and that is an incredibly successful program this year. One of the students has already started pushing into gen ed kindergarten, and another one is about ready. What's special about Hillcrest? Everybody says the staff is special. And I can attest to that because as I was at Eastwood, I have been welcomed very much and warmly here at Hillcrest. We have specials, I think like 4 or 5 times a year, where all of the specials teachers get together and they do a special together all the kids in that grade level. So the music teacher and the CDS and the library and the PE teacher all get together. For example, for Veterans Day, the special there was like 3 different choices. So Mr. Hurwitz, the music teacher, was a Marine, and so he did like a little mini boot camp in the gym for the kids who wanted to do that. And then in the library there was singing songs and a story time about Veterans Day. Another thing is the impossible shot. So I didn't realize that there was going to be basketball practice. I was going to take you in for so you could try the impossible shot. But the impossible shot, there is a PVC pipe about this big around, just big enough for a tennis ball, and it's about 2.5 feet tall. And you have to stand at the free throw line, and the little PVC pipe is underneath the basket. And you get 1 shot at the end of every PE class to try and do the impossible shot and get the tennis ball into the PVC pipe. And so then if you make the impossible shot, your picture goes in the gym lobby. And so far this year, 4 kids have made the impossible shot. 1 chance every 2 times in the 6-day cycle. We also have the Golden Shoe, which is an award that is given to the classroom that has the best, like they call it PACE in PE. So it's like participation and like 3 other things I don't know. But anyway, it's about like being involved and doing their very best. And so I think Miss Schnorr's class has the Golden Shoe right now. We have the Traveling Hawks that are the Spirit Awards. So every Friday we count up in class how many kids are wearing spirit wear, and the classes with the highest percentage get to keep the little hawk. There's a little stuffed hawk in a nest that Mrs. Everhart put together because the kids told her that the hawks needed a nest. So the hawks move from one classroom to the next. Whoever in the Monday morning message, we announce who the spirit winner was for the last week. We have after school programs. So we have robotics, choir, band, and this year we have art. And you saw the first art project, the ceramics project that Mrs. Leisure did with her art kids. During our 5D work, well, I wasn't here for this part of their journey, but during 5D, we identified a vision for student learning, like what we want students to feel while they're learning, and also a vision for student experience, how we want them to feel just when they're at school. And that was then turned into a graphic so that we can like remember it, kind of like a mission statement, so it kind of drives decisions. So the vision for student learning is that we hope that they are caring, that they have ownership, that they take risks, and that they are engaged in their learning. And the vision for student experience is that all at our core, we're all about love. And so we want to make sure that all the kids feel like they belong and are loved while they're here. We keep the strategic plan in mind when we are making decisions. So we primarily, I've noticed, are in timely instruction in the upper left-hand side. Pretty much every PD, I'm like, and here we are again in the timely instruction. As part of the school improvement things, one of the things that I wanted to look at Hillcrest when I first came is the collective efficacy of the staff. And so there is research like John Hattie's research. It's the thing that is the most impactful on student learning is whether or not the teachers and all the staff actually in the school believe that all the rest of the staff in the school are doing their job and doing it well. So collectively that we're all going in the same direction. And so the staff took a survey at the beginning of the year as a baseline. And I thought that then we could like work from there to improve the collective efficacy. And it was super apparent when I graphed out all the data and whatever that like, wow, we actually here at Hillcrest are doing amazingly in the area of collective efficacy. So the statements that were scored the highest in that survey were teachers in the school truly believe that every child can learn, and then they scored that on a scale from 1 to 6. Teachers here don't give up. Teachers are skilled, students want to learn, and students feel safe. So those were the highest scored on the survey of like 30 questions. We have 3 goals here at Hillcrest this year. So we have a reading goal, a math goal, and an attendance goal that we are working toward. We are basing our goal growth, the measurement of that, on our iReady diagnostic test. Everybody in the district, all the kids take that test 3 times a year, except kinders don't take it in the fall because they don't have to take tests yet. And so then you can see that in the fall of 2022, there's different ways that you can view this data, but the standard view is kind of like the green is how many kids are like right where they're kind of like supposed to be at the beginning of the year. And then and the red obviously is the kids that we're worried about. So you can see in the top that the fall of 2022, there were about 37, I can't see that far away, 37% of the kids that came in to their grade level green. By the end of the year, they had grown to 67%. And so we really wanted to push that and try to get 70% of the kids in the green part of the triangle by the end of this year. And you can see that from the fall diagnostic data for fall 2023, that's definitely a possibility. So we're trying to increase our reading scores on that particular assessment by 3%. The same for math. Math was the little green part's a little bit skinnier down there, but you can definitely see how much growth the teachers and staff here at Hillcrest helped the kids gain last year from the fall to the spring. This year, again, we would like to raise that to 70% of the kids being in the green at benchmark. And we think that we can do that because staff did it last year. We'll push it a little bit. Our attendance, you saw, the board saw that every week we have a Monday morning message and we talk about attendance in the Monday morning message. We're having a competition. Well, I don't think the other schools are actually competing with us, but we think we're having a competition with all the rest of the elementary schools in Roseburg. And we are currently in first place for our attendance, our overall attendance year to date is about 78% of kids attending regularly, which is 90% of the time. A regular attender means like if there's 177 school days in the school year, they need to be here for they need to be absent 17 or fewer times. 18 kids to reach our 80% goal. And we totally think we can. No, oh, the way that we are going to improve all of those scores, reading, math, and attendance, is a variety of things. I just bolded like one kind of like main point in each column. The reading, we have GRIP. All the elementary schools do GRIP every 6 weeks. We meet with the grade level team and discuss data and look at kids that we're worried about and making sure that none of the kids fall through the cracks. And if a kid needs something special, it needs a little bit of extra support, that they are given that. And so during GRIP, we do actually look at reading, math, and attendance and behavior all in 30 minutes once every 6 weeks. We're efficient. And so that is like one way that we track all that. Math, this year, the district has refocused on the math habits of mind and math and habits of interaction. And so that is the way that kids talk to each other and approach math thinking in the classroom. And so like a math habit of interaction might be talking to a partner about your math thinking, or listening to your partner to be able to like restate what your partner said, etc., so that you can you're listening very intently. And a math habit is a way that the teacher helps the student interact with the math problem. So like visual representation is a math habit, for example. And then the in attendance, I already told you about the popcorn parties that we have on 5-day weeks. This class with the best attendance gets a popcorn party. And this is the our state report card for the 22-23 school year. All those iReady diagnostic tests, they mimic very closely the state test. So we are trying to raise our state test scores also by 3%. And so you can see at the bottom that we have English language arts was 57% passing last year at the benchmark, and we want to raise that to 60. 43% passed in math. We'd like to increase that 3% to 46, and then science an increase of to 48%. But for the school wide, for the school improvement, we are focusing on the iReady diagnostic because every student takes that, and so this is just representative of 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. That is all. You have any questions?
Well, I love the, just a minute, Monday morning message. We got to see a videotape of those, and it was amazing and so affirming. And I just would love to have that Monday morning message every day to my house,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh, and in the Monday morning message you saw the hugs and high five tube. That was actually made for us by the high school wood shop, because there was one at some other school that in town, and somebody thought that there should be one here, and so the wood shop made it for us. And so then they fill up like it takes probably about 2 or 3 weeks to get to like each of the prize levels. But gum day, super fun. We had double bubble. No, yeah, double bubble, the one that like turns hard really, really fast, right? So it's like all the teachers could do their gum chew whenever they wanted to, but it was kind of like timed because like nobody wants to chew that gum for that long. And then at the end of the day, each class had a bubble blowing competition, and then at the end of the day they sent their finalists, and that in the video you saw them blowing bubbles at the end of the day to see who the all school bubble champion was. I think there was like 2 or 3. They got a candy bar and some more double bubble. That was pretty popular. Successful.
Thank you so much. Just so you know, I'm sitting on a wad of gum right now.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Anyway, thank you for your time and thank you for hosting us.
Thanks.
Really appreciate it. This time we get to hear from our student reps, Hannah and Sylvia. And I just want everybody to know how hard these leadership folks work from the high school, and we do enjoy your reports, and you take the time to come and share that with us, and we appreciate it. So you're up.
Enjoy being here. So first on our report, I'm going to be reporting the school section. So as I'm sure all of you guys know, there's only 2 days left until winter break. So things around RHS have been pretty busy. The band at school had their winter concert, and they got to showcase all the work that they've been putting in throughout the year. And then choir also had their Christmas concert on Tuesday. That was really fun to be at. The Orange R, which is our school newspaper, has their new print publication coming out this Friday, and they have begun releasing video broadcasts every Thursday. The theater department had just announced their spring musical, and they have auditions January 31st and February 1st for their musical, which is The Addams Family. Clay Club has been hard at work making goods for their annual pottery sale, which is December 14th and 15th, where students, a part of the club, have been making dishes, and they've been making pots for plants, and they're selling it to help support the materials they need. And then the EF Europe trip group has been meeting and brainstorming ways of fundraising.
So as I'm sure you all heard, we're super busy, but we also have a bunch of student athletes who are adding on to that. And winter sports just started up, or they're in full swing here. I think they've been going for about 4 weeks now. And our girls and boys basketball teams both played great games last night against South Salem and Crater. This Friday, our boys basketball team is playing at home, and tip-off for our varsity team is at 6:45. And the bum theme for the student section is camo. I'm sure all of you guys are ready to get out there with the bleacher bums. The RHS swim team has a huge batch of new swimmers this year. I think they have around 42 athletes. They have their second home meet of the season this Friday. At their first home meet, it was super great. Our boys swim team ended up winning, which was super exciting. And then our wrestling team had 2 boys earlier this weekend, I think, take first place in their weight classes at the Wrestling Coast Classic. And then the team is leaving for Reno, Nevada tomorrow, which is pretty exciting.
All right, and now for leadership. So last week, Sylvia and I actually held the very first interclub council meeting where each club could send representatives, and we got to meet with them, and there were over 25 clubs represented. So that was really nice because we got to see the ways that we could help support them and the ways that students can get involved in our school. And then shortly after the interclub council meeting, we opened up our executive council meeting to anyone in the school. One of Sylvia and I's goals were to make sure that everyone felt like their voice was being heard. And so our executive council meetings were opened up to school-wide. And then this week is Winter Week, and our leadership team planned many festive activities, and we filled this week with dress-up days, lunchtime activities, a raffle, and a winter-themed scavenger hunt, which has got students really excited.
So I'm sure you've heard, but students around the school have been super busy with winter sports and all the festivities leading up to the break, and we're about to start prepping for finals in the coming weeks. Thanks for having us.
Great job as usual. I did neglect something. I wanted to let the other board members know in the audience that Director Hammerson has been excused for tonight's meeting. We're going to swap the agenda around a little bit. Director Johnson is going to come and recognize our Crystal Apple Award winners, and then the student awards will be right after that. Thank you very much.
The board and our community members, family and friends. It is indeed an honor and an extreme privilege that we have the opportunity to present to you 2 of our staff people for recognition tonight. From Hillcrest Elementary School, we have Allison Bocott. All your family and friends come right up. Center stage. That's exciting how they support you like that. Thank you for coming. Let me share with you what I have been given. Allison is a special education teacher. She is a lead teacher in the emerging kindergarten classroom at Hillcrest and is known as a creative, diligent, and passionate teaching professional. Her approach to teaching is truly from the heart, and she works tirelessly preparing activities, taking data, and reviewing her practice so that she can do her best by each child in her classroom. She is willing to take on the extra challenges to help colleagues without reservation. Her educational experiences are great, but her knowledge and her desire to continue to learn is even greater. Finally, Allison values being a member of the team. She wishes she could share this award with assistants in her program, and she does not believe she would be successful without them. Allison is. Huh?
Can you underline that part, please?
Let me repeat. She doesn't believe she would be successful without their support, and neither would we. Allison is truly a one-of-a-kind gem. Your crystal apple says, just tell me how I can help. Congratulations. We need to take a picture. Our second recipient is also from Hillcrest, Tracy Creamer, night custodian. Why don't you guys come further over this way? There we go. Keep coming. Keep coming. There we go. Allow me to share also. Tracy has been a quiet force behind the scenes, making our school shine, literally. For countless years, she has created a welcome space for both students and staff. Her empathy, strength, intelligence, and good nature are something that is very rare to find. She has been called an angel walking on earth due to her kind and caring soul. The Crystal Apple Award is long overdue. Acknowledgement of the warmth and the care she pours into every corner of our building. We are here to congratulate you, Tracy, and your Crystal Apple Award says you are the keeper of Hillcrest history. We will miss you greatly.
And from Hillcrest Elementary, we have Mason Witham. Mason is so very curious and is driven to discover the way things work. He has extraordinary strategies and skills to acquire the knowledge he seeks and strives to help others be successful. He is calm and considerate, as well as a phenomenal academic. If Mason had to choose his future career today, he guesses he would be a map maker. One of the things he is the proudest of is the huge map he made by taping notebook paper together. It is a map of an imaginary world that hangs in his room. However, Mason thinks that he would like to attend Harvard because of the classes offered there, like botany and other sciences. Mason is also proud that he has had a personal conversation with each principal that he has had in elementary school. During his conversation with Principal Thompson, he advocated for a new school club, the Dungeons and Dragons Club, which will start at the school soon. Congratulations, Mason. And he has a nice award and a gift certificate to McDonald's. And next we have from Jolene Middle School, Jack Anderson. Jack Anderson, 7th grade. Is he in the hall? Okay, well, we will move along. How about Oakley Paulson, 12th grade? There she is. Come on up, family, teachers, friends. Come stand over here, girl. Oakley Paulson. Oakley is known as a hard worker who has especially shined in the hospitality, tourism, and recreation program for the past 3 years. Oakley has helped prepare food and served at catering jobs through the program. She is always on task and willing to help others and always enters class with a smile and a can-do attitude. She can get tasks done to the best of her ability without direct supervision. Oakley moved to Roseburg 3 years ago from California. This can be a hard transition, especially during a pandemic, but she has done a great job of working hard and keeping her grades up. Oakley would like to be a pastry chef and currently has her eye on Southwestern Oregon Community College, Oregon Coast Culinary Institute for her post-secondary training. Oakley's teachers know she will do her best and excel at whatever she decides to do. Congratulations, Oakley.
And we'll make sure that Jack is here for the next board meeting so he can be recognized. Yeah,
Ladies and gentlemen, we are very honored and pleased that you took part of your busy schedule to come out and be with us tonight, and especially the fun part of our meeting where we recognize our students and our staff. We're going to ask that we take a few moments to allow you that would like to depart to leave without interrupting the meeting. Thank you so much for coming. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and God bless you. We're going to take a short recess.
Okay, we're going to resume. Your principal. Go for it. Okay. The Board of Directors offers the public an opportunity to address the board immediately prior to engaging in our discussion and action items. Input can also be provided to the board via email to the district and the board will receive that. We value the perspective from all of our community members. Remember, it's you have the cards. Do we have any cards? Oh, there are none. Well, I'm going to finish my spill. If anybody wants to speak, we do have. So 2 minutes. And the board won't respond because it's your time to speak to the board tonight. So. And Michelle, go ahead. Michelle will, you ready, Michelle? Okay, Michelle's going to take this part of the meeting over.
Just need to share the timer really quick. Thank you. Great. Almost there. Yes, I just have to start the timer. I usually put a timer up for you, but I will start it for you. Okay. Okay. Just let you know that you have 2 minutes. And then when the timer goes off, please wrap up your comments.
Thank you. My name is Kate, and I'm the mother of a middle school student in the Roseburg School District. I'm here tonight to talk about a difficult subject, which is the subject of racism. I grew up in Roseburg. I've always known that there's racism here, but moving back and enrolling my biracial Black daughter in middle school has come as a shock. Racism here is rampant. It's an epidemic. I apologize for the use of some racial slurs in this testimony, but I need for you to feel the impact that my daughter is forced to undergo at school. I've been appalled at how many racial slurs my daughter has had to endure on almost a daily basis. She and other students of color have been called burnt, a black monkey, nigger, and more. Bananas have been passed out to Black students as a way of calling them monkeys. Most recently, a student printed out what he called nigger passes, and his friends sell them to white kids for $1 each, which allows them to supposedly use racial slurs all day without any ramifications. Kids of color are pressured into approving of these passes. I realize that schools can't parent all their kids, and the schools are doing their best to discipline these children. Many of the kids get it at home. However, it cannot be that just a few kids get detention and we call it good. It is so far past time to address this issue. If the school does not address it, it becomes part of the school culture, and the kids who pay for it are the kids of color. It has caused my daughter significant mental health problems, trauma that will probably last a lifetime. If Roseburg wants to claim that it welcomes all students of all different races, it must provide more than the occasional detention. Roseburg School District must show its support for its students of color through programming, curriculum, discussions on race, anti-bias training, and school supports for kids of color. There are services available for these activities. This is not about guilt tripping anyone or pointing fingers or laying blame. It is about creating bridges so all kids can understand the ramifications of their words. It's about educating, exposing, bringing young people together so we have a better school system and a better town for all our children. Thank you.
Is this Ben Anderson?
That is me.
Okay.
Good evening. How are we doing? I didn't have anything prepared. Thank you, Kate, for sharing that. My name is Ben Anderson. We moved here to Roseburg from the Bay Area in California about 6 years ago now. And in that time, I feel like I've seen Roseburg changing a lot. My father moved here 10 years before myself. And I know when he first came to this community, he started coaching baseball. Little League is what he did for me when we were in California. And some of the kids, I think it was maybe 9 or 10-year-olds or so. Some of those kids, it was their first interaction with a person of color, which to me in the Bay Area was so diverse, it was shocking. And even in the time I've been here, I've seen it become more and more diverse, which is really great, and really helps a community become beautiful. But I feel like with that, sometimes things pop up, like we experience racism at schools and things like that. I know that my son was called nigger a couple of times last year in the presence of adults, and I had to learn it from him and not anyone in the school, which is a little surprising to me. But again, as communities grow and become more diverse, I feel like it's important to make sure that we are embracing maybe tools or resources that we have to help use that and help grow the community in the healthiest way we can. And yeah, so I just feel like things like embracing diversity and tapping on resources and expertise of people, you know, in other communities or all over the country who do this for a living and have the tools to help a community continue to grow and embrace diversity would be a great thing. So I just wanted to bring that forward to you. So thank you. Thank you for listening.
Bonnie Anderson.
Hi, I'm Ben's mother and have 2 grandchildren in the Roseburg School District. And I think the first step is sometimes realizing that there is a problem and nobody wants to look at the kind of ugly things that come up, and they do, they come up everywhere. So I just really would like to encourage the district to do some education, you know, with the kids, with the parents. There's, you know, as Ben said, there's professionals that go around the country and speak to school districts and kids, and just to raise the level of awareness, because it's very hurtful when things do happen to the students. And so thanks for listening, and we hope to get some support for the Black and brown kids. Thanks.
Is there anyone online who would like to participate? No.
I got like 3 weeks worth of work in front of me. Okay, review of the agenda.
Thank you, Chair Cotton. A couple of agenda items tonight. Recommendations for hire within the consent agenda have been expanded to include 2 additional hires. I want to thank HR for that. Great job. We also have additional items included in the listing of the gifts to the district. Just like to acknowledge some of the great gifts to the district that are outlined in the gifts in your packet. The letter from the audit firm KDP, we'll talk about that audit here tonight, to the board is now included in pages 40 through 43 in the packet. And we've also added an agenda item, curriculum instruction subcommittee will be reporting as 4B tonight on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. The Vice Chair will now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any discussion? Being none, are you ready for the question? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, let the record show the motion carried unanimously. The next item on the agenda, this is our quarterly report from Phoenix Charter School. We are pleased and honored to have Director Thomas McGregor. He's not here tonight, is he? but Principal Cat is, and one of the board members, right? Please come to our microphone and introduce yourself for our members and for the records and give us your report.
I'm Kat Perkins. I'm the principal of Phoenix Charter School. So I know that you guys have kind of a packed schedule today, so I'll try and go through this really quick. And I'm going to go through a few things, but as I was sitting there, I decided that I wanted to tell you a couple wins today. So we had 2 students graduate today. One student had come to me. She was an 18-year-old and she came to us and she said, I'm going to quit. I'm just going to drop out. I just don't want to do this anymore. She only needed 1 credit. She needed a math credit. And our teachers said, you can do this. And I said, you can do this. And she worked and she graduated today. And the look of disbelief on her face was awesome. Number 2, this other student, when I first started working at Phoenix, we were struggling with discipline. And I saw this student in my office quite a bit. And this student was a wildcat. She was getting into fights. She was getting into trouble. I didn't even know what I was going to do with her. So this year she's showing up, she's doing our GED program and she's doing fairly well, but she's got all her tests done except for 1, and she keeps missing it by 1 point. And she keeps at it. She keeps at it. She keeps at it. And finally she graduated today. And she was so excited. She couldn't even believe it. She's like, what do I do now? And the whole school was like super excited. And that's really what I want to focus on. I'll go through this report, but I want you guys to understand what Phoenix is. And Phoenix is a school that kids can come to. And if they're struggling, if they have ACEs, if they have some emotional trauma, we can sometimes help them through that and get them graduated. So, so far this year, we have graduated. Let's see if I have that number. I think it was 6 or 7 students already. And those are just students that were, 5th year students that were trying to get caught up. And so we've had some of them come through the GED program. Some of them have just done a few credits. So I just want to say kudos to those kids that didn't give up. They decided just to get in there and get it done. So hopefully you guys had time to go over the long information that I gave you. What I wanted to do was just review our performance plan with you. And that just gave me the opportunity to go through and see some of the goals that we put together and the benchmarks and where are we at, so I could communicate those with you. So what I added in with that report was a summary of action towards our performance goals, where we've had some challenges, we've had some success, and we've had some areas that we realized we need to make some adjustments on. And I'm really proud that we were able to dig deep and figure out where we need to do some improvement on. We're still in that growth stage for sure. One more thing that I want to talk to you guys about. I reviewed our state report card. And when I first saw it compared to Roseburg High School, I was really like, whoa, look at these numbers. We have 20% SPED students in our school. And then I looked at our 9th grade on track numbers and they were like, whoa, that's shocking, right? So I wanted to dig a little bit deeper and find out, well, what's going on with our 9th graders? Like, where are we having trouble with them and why are our numbers so different? And I looked in and I pulled a sample of 19 students, and those are the ones that I could find that had state test scores. And of those 19 students, there were 15 that were from Roseburg School District. And for their state, I looked to see where their state testing scores were, and they either had 7th grade or 8th grade scores, and I was looking to see if they met standards or they didn't meet standards. And overall, 2 out of 19 had met their math standards. 2. 6 out of 19 had met English language arts standards. Those numbers really reflect on what we're seeing with our kids coming in, is we're getting the kids that are the exception. We're getting the kids that have struggled. We're getting the kids that are not meeting standard. We're getting the 504s. We have 31 IEP students, and we have 17 kids that are McKinney-Vento. So we have kids that are displaced from their homes. We have kids that have not been succeeding in their regular education. So we're getting the challenge. We are. And so when we look at these numbers and see where we're at, we're making some growth in our attendance rates. We're making some growth on our on track for graduation, and we're making some growth in English language arts. When I look at these numbers, I'm looking specifically at like, oh gosh, look at our 4th grade. We're not or our tenth grade, excuse me, look at our tenth grade scores in math. That's an area that we're definitely seeing some struggle in from year to year. Last year, our ninth graders were 8.3% at or above benchmark, and then they dropped to 4%. But that 10th grade class, as you'll hear me talk about over and over again, is the anomaly. Those are the kids that spent their puberty in COVID. And if you guys know much about brain science or look into it, isolation has a huge impact on the brain. And so we're seeing that in the numbers. And I want you guys to take that into consideration when you're looking at these things. So with our growth plan, one of the things that we're going to be doing and that we are doing to address some of these issues with kids coming in with these deficiencies is making sure that these kids, by the time they're in 10th grade, they're on the right track for graduation. So maybe some of these kids are not going to be on a regular diploma track. Sometimes they're going to need to be on the modified diploma track, or sometimes they're going to go right into GED because they're just not fitting that mold. So we want to make sure that we set them up for success in those areas. If they're going to go on the GED track, let's make sure they have strong math skills. So they're coming in and they have no 8th grade math skills, and we are just throwing them right into algebra. That's not going to work. And we're seeing that. So those are the adjustments that we're making. We're increasing our math classes. We're increasing our English language arts classes. And we're taking those kids and looking at them in those cohorts of who's going to go that modified track, who's going to go the regular track, and how can we support the growth that's needed to get them where they need to go. So I'll wrap that up. And if you guys have some questions about what you see in the report, go ahead and throw them out there. Good. All right. Thank you, guys.
I'm just waiting for my slide to come up. All of the information, the notes that we have are provided online on our website. So you can always go see all of the different committee reports. But the Student Services Committee met November 14th to discuss the new education laws that have come into effect, which are over 1,000 that affect the schools. Just that was pretty impressive. The committee discussed the impacts of new and revised laws pertaining to restraint and seclusion and abbreviated days. Both of these practices are used sparingly and with the highest priority placed on serving all students safely. Our district meets training requirements that emphasize being proactive and practicing de-escalation. Staff received training from the Crisis Prevention Institute. And like I said, if you want more information, you can find it online.
Nice report. Okay, our next report will be the Finance Committee report. Director Johnson.
Thank you, Chair Cotton. It is indeed an honor to share the results of the Finance Committee. I will take a brief few moments to remind everyone that our school district is a public entity. We are required to follow generally accepted accounting principles. There are rules and regulations of how we receive funds, how the funds are dispersed, the accountability of those funds, and each one of them have to meet different criteria. We asked, the board did, for an independent audit to come from the outside, to come into our organization and sit down with our staff and review the policies and the procedures that were put in place to see if they were in compliance. Our Finance Committee met December the 12th, and we had a representative from KDP Certified Public Accountants out of Medford, Aria Bettinger, who came to the committee with a hard copy of the report that you have before you. It is full of numbers. Don't let the numbers dismay you. They are all in sync. I reviewed every one of them personally. What the auditors are trying to do is to review, as I mentioned before, our policies and procedures to see if they're in compliance with generally accepted accounting principles. And they gave us a written opinion of their finding. And it was an unmodified opinion, which is of the 4 different levels, that's the highest that you can receive, an unmodified opinion. It says that we are doing things the correct way without discretion and without complications, and they were able to ascertain that. They came in with an idea that they're not going to check every transaction, it has to be material, but they have a process of pulling out samples. If those samples are in sync, they can then say the whole is as accurate as the sample, and they make that opinion from that. When they got done with that, they gave their written opinion that we could take. This certified audit opinion puts the district in a favorable, an unmodified report, in a favorable position when it comes to doing things financially, borrowing money from banks, borrowing money from other institutions. Also, when we saw bond, the selling bonding company looked at our report to see if they could give us more favorable rates. We saved over the last 4 or 5 years a tremendous amount of money with our PERS through bonding because we had an unmodified opinion for our certified report. As such, we can say this report could be something similar to us individually as your FICO score or your credit report. You can use that as a personal comparison, but this is strictly business. As such, the Finance Committee has met and come tonight to the board to recommend and make it a motion, and I will make that motion, that we accept from the KDP Certified Public Accountant the audited report for the year ending June 30th, 2023, and be part of our permanent records.
Do we have a motion?
I just motioned.
I know.
Yeah.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Howard, thank you very much for the report. Your reports are so much better than the auditors. Really appreciate it. And I hope other board members, directors realize how fortunate we are to have Howard on this board when it comes to not just financial things, but he really gets it. And he gets right down to the nitty gritty, and I appreciate that. Any questions? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Thank you, Director Johnson, and thank you, Cheryl, and your business staff for another good year. Now we've added, I guess we can call it 4A, 4B. We're going to have a brief report on curriculum and instruction so that we can get it wrapped up in this meeting. So I'm going to ask Mike Leone to.
Well, I could make it really long though, if you want me to.
No.
Oh, okay, I won't. Last week, Director Krimitz and Director Miner and I met with Dr. Weber and a few other staff. And it was basically to talk over what was going on in the curriculum and development area. And during that time, we had a lot of questions. I mean, we just, all three of us just fired away at the questions, learned a lot about what's actually being taught in the schools. And, even though at the director level, our role is at a policy level, we still really do need to understand what's going on in the schools, what they're teaching or what's being taught, so that we could make wiser and better decisions on either updating old policies or creating new policies to make it better and easier for them to do their job. And I'll just say up front, and I even told Dr. Weber that I personally was really impressed with the transparency, the clarity of what she and others are doing at that level, knowing all the controversy that could be brewed up from the public and from the media. It was actually really refreshing for me to realize that, pretty much, for everything that we heard, it wasn't stuff that was, pushed down from the north, from the state policies, but it really, the stuff that we're doing and developing at the school level really looks like it's community based. It reflects what our community is all about. I'll add this: after hearing the public testimony on racism, I was really, I won't say I was shocked, but there'll probably be some things that we might be doing in that area that'll really help. But anyway, what we did talk about, and sorry, I didn't mean to talk too much, but we did talk about the diploma options. I learned a little bit more about what we are offering. There's a standard diploma, modified diploma, an extended diploma and then we're typically given to students in special ed, and then GED. Then also, it looks like in 2026 and 27, the state is requiring that students earn a half credit in personal finance education, which I think we're all already kind of doing that in other classes, but they'll be getting credit for that. And then also for higher education and career path skills. We're already doing that apparently through the advisory class periods. So I think we're doing well there, and that's pretty good stuff. Then also right now, I guess they're in the process of going through implementing a K-12 district-wide science curriculum adoption plan, which materials will be piloted and likely adopted by the end of the year. So again, just want to say great job in what you're doing, and just keep up the good work.
Good report, everybody. Now we're going to move on to the 2023-24 Student Investment Act grant approval and Assistant Superintendent Lee.
Thank you, Chair Cotton. In your board packets, you have the 23-24 Student Investment Account Grant Agreement that we received from ODE. The grant agreements are a little bit later this year than typical. They had to run the grants through the Justice Department, and there was a delay in them coming back to the state of Oregon. So we just received the grant agreement for this school year. One of the requirements for the SIA grant is that the grant goes in front of our board, and our board gives approval. So I can then submit that in the minutes from this board meeting back to ODE, and then they will release the grant funds to our district. The grant for 23-24 is $5,250,236.98. So we are asking for your approval of this grant.
I move that we approve that grant.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Now I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye, okay, opposed? Okay, passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the next one will be Cheryl, and she's going to talk to us about the purchase of cafeteria tables, new ones, replacements.
Actually pretty darn exciting. So we have an opportunity. We have funds in our nutrition services fund to buy some equipment and buy some cafeteria tables. We've got about a $2 million ending fund balance there that we actually need to get spent. I gave you a little detail about how that happened. We have received bids through a publicly purchased procurement cooperative, the Office Depot Omnia Region 4 pricing agreement. And we are asking for permission from the board to replace cafeteria tables at the listed schools there on your memo.
Somebody want to make a motion?
I move for the approval of the request to purchase replacement cafeteria tables as proposed.
I'll give a second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I would just like to reiterate that these are funds that need to be used in that specific department. It's not like we just have this excess of money that we can spend on whatever. It
No.
is very much part of that.
It is contained within the Nutrition Services Fund. It is restricted for nutrition services, equipment and supplies. And we have obtained approval through Oregon Department of Education, Nutrition Services procurement for this purchase.
And they don't like when we have that kind of money in food service.
It is, we cannot have an excess of 3 months of operating expenditures, but because we can't hire staff and through the meals we served during COVID, we did build up an excess ending fund balance.
And we know that we need these.
If you are a custodian that has to collapse the tables and put them back up every day, this is a very exciting purchase.
We have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, passes. So now, Assistant Superintendent Blake, you're going to talk to us about the calendar.
All right, so on November 29th, the calendar committee met to review two proposed calendars. One calendar had school starting before Labor Day, and the second calendar had school starting after Labor Day. By unanimous decision, the calendar committee agreed to put forward to the board the calendar that starts after Labor Day and request the board's approval of this calendar for the 24-25 school year.
I move to approve the proposed 2025 school year calendar.
We need a second.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Not part of the question, but part of the understanding. We have a level of institutional hours that need to be met. And we put into place any contingency for unavoidable days absence. I think we said last year, if it's 3, we weren't going to bother with it. If it's 4, is that still in place?
Yes, that's still in place.
Thank you.
Andrea, you have a question?
Is my mic on?
Yeah,
Oh,
you're on.
I think it knew I was going to ask a question or say something, I guess. One of the, I was in that meeting. There were so many different components that go into this. And, that was very interesting to see that. But one of the deciding factors too is for delaying school start for after Labor Day was because of weather and smoke. That we would probably have higher temperatures. And of course, we know we have problems with air conditioning, not getting enough cool air. So yes, so that was it, the air conditioning and smoke. Heat and issue. I'm tired too. Okay. Enough.
Any further?
Oh, I was glad to see that this was the decision that the calendar committee came to, because I know last year when we talked about it, it seemed like it was going the other way.
Yeah.
That, we would start quite a bit earlier. And I just feel much more comfortable with this, and then added with the smoke and the heat, that definitely makes sense. Appreciate that.
Okay, let's call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Let's move into the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Chair Cotton. If I could hit the right button, there we go. All right, well, I appreciate the opportunity to spend a few minutes going over a couple of highlights here in this report. And I want to start by talking about our amazing staff and our amazing kids. Got great people here in the room that represent so many of our staff members. And one thing that we have the privilege of seeing is just so many great things are happening in our schools every day. We have great staff providing great experiences for kids in the classroom, curricularly. So many great things are happening inside and outside the classroom. Here is just a couple of quick spotlights to provide students a rich opportunity of learning. And that happens in a lot of different ways. And here's a couple just examples for you. Everything from forklift training to involving the canine units with the Douglas County Sheriff's Office to health career events and other opportunities. And just want to thank our staff for providing great experiences for our children and our community and families. We've had a positive start to collective bargaining. I mentioned last time we met that we are excited for the opportunity to work on our collective bargaining agreements with our staff. And actually all employees will have a new agreement in place next year. And we had a great meeting with our OSEA bargaining team on Monday. And we're looking forward to meeting with our licensed bargaining team soon. And again, all employee groups, whether they do collective bargaining or not, 2 of the 4 do collective bargaining, will have a new agreement next year. And we're hopeful that, as I said at the beginning of the year, it will be one of the reasons that people say, I'm going to be here until I retire. I love it here. And so we're looking forward to that process. We've had a nice start there. I want to talk about a House bill. Sometimes when I bring House bills forward, you may go, oh no, what's the latest from the legislature? This is an interesting House bill. This was sponsored by Representative Neuron and Senator Denver, I believe. And this House Bill 3031, effectively required the Oregon Department of Education to study matters related to ventilation and energy efficiency in schools. And so ODE is going to require, or the legislature has required the Oregon Department of Education to return no later than September 15th, 2024 and give a comprehensive report. So we've got some great folks here. Cheryl Northam was right in the middle of this as well, saying, hey, there's a House bill and they need some pilot schools where they can do some work. And so as we try to do, we jump and try to get in front of line on this. And there are 4 pilot grades as part of this pilot. So we thought we'd bring that to you. It's another example of how we're trying to do what we can. I know we've had over the last 4 years, I guess this is year 5, we've had a number of bond opportunities to talk about this. And so hopefully this information will help frame the discussion at the legislative level about what it would take to address some of these issues. On the horizon, I just want to let you know kind of some things that have been on my mind in terms of things that I just hope you would consider as we think about our work sessions coming up. November, December, and March, we have one board meeting, and so we don't have an opportunity always to do a work session. But I've got a couple things that have been on my mind just to have you consider as we plan those work sessions out, which are really great opportunities for the board to dig into, a single issue or 2 issues with a little more depth and time. The first one is I'd like to see the board and us as a group look at some mid-year math and literacy achievement data. Jennifer talked about that tonight, Principal Thompson, about looking at some iReady data. Our state data looks at certain grade levels at elementary, for example, grades 3, 4, 5, but we can get a pretty good look in terms of how our students are doing in terms of growth around all grade levels around literacy and math. So I think that's going to be important. We're looking forward to seeing that data ourselves. And so I think it's a great thing for the board to lean in to these common goals we have around increasing literacy and math this year. I'd like to spend some time also, ODE's come out with accountability reports, and I want to spend some time on those, what those mean. Those are a little more detailed than the school report card that we have shown that kind of has that wheel on it with colors on it. It has a variety of content areas, ninth grade, or for example, have ninth grade on track, graduation, and other content levels that has growth and achievement. And it's broken down by a number of subcategories. It's actually a pretty instructive document. I'd like to spend some time going through that as well coming up. I'd like to spend some time talking about the ESD and about the return on investment we do or maybe do not receive, and have a frank conversation with Annalicia, the superintendent there. And then also want to let you know we've received a technical assistance grant to help us with our long-range facilities plan. We have to have a current long-range facilities plan to be eligible for some grants. And it does provide the board an opportunity to think about our long-range planning and the whole district, to be honest with you. What is our plan over the next 5, 10, 50, 100 years as a school district? Said before, our buildings average 75 years old. We've passed one bond in 40 years. Do the math and start to say, what's the plan in terms of our own growth and the plan in terms of how we spend money? And so April would be a good time to have the consultants that have come through the funding for this grant to come and interact with the board on your vision for where we see our district going in the next couple of generations. I want to talk just for a few minutes about some real exciting news that continues to happen across our schools. Brett Steineker's in the back. Hey, Brett, how you doing? Brett's our P20 coordinator, and his handprints are all over the good news we're seeing in our partnerships with the college and our partnerships with our local and regional business partners. The school district is working very diligently to align and partner and really almost have it become a single entity as it comes to our relationship with the college. I want to just spend a few minutes talking about the health careers pathway that's coming up. Talk about this a little bit. I want to thank also Chelsea, who's done the work on the graphics on this. You'll notice over here, we've got obviously the SAW, but inside you'll see the, I don't know, is that EKG? I don't know, whatever it is, right? So we've got kind of the advanced manufacturing and advanced healthcare. I want to talk a little bit tonight about advanced healthcare. We hear from our community a lot that we have a need for professionals to come here. There's a lot of efforts in the community to recruit people, to retain people. And I've continued to say over and over again, the talent is in our community. The talent we need is here. And although I really, really love and appreciate the idea of scholarshiping so kids can leave, it actually frustrates me at times that we encourage students to leave that don't have to leave. And we are committed to provide pathways for students that are high wage, high demand jobs that are articulated where kids can find and develop a career and be successful in our own community. This fits exactly with our strategic plan. Not just about graduation. It's about graduation with a plan for your future. And what we know is that students do better and families do better when it's really clear what the pathway is. So we are expanding next year in the 24-25 school year. In addition to the nursing assistant programs we have, we'll have phlebotomy, EMT certification. We are introducing fire science coursework as well. I've talked about the pathway around the nursing, which is remarkable. There's an opportunity for students to go right to be enrolled in Roseburg High School, to doubly dual enroll at the high school and the college and Oregon Health Sciences University, finish your bachelor's degree with OHSU, possibly debt-free, have a job in the community, earn to learn and work here. So we're expanding those. I want to thank Brett, who's been a huge component of helping coordinate our work with the college's work. That dual enrollment process is moving forward. We have key partners with the hospital, Aviva, and other partners waiting in the wings. We had about 30 of our students that attended and participated in the health careers event that we talked about the UCC put on. And we really feel like this is a very critical component that should become our DNA around vocational ed and professional training and pathways in our community. Finally, we'll just say we want to wish all of our students, families, our staff, our school board a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a joyful and prosperous 2024. Thank you.
Okay, now we will move on to individual director reports. If you have anything you'd like to add.
Yeah, I went to the SOAR robotics competition Saturday at the high school, and my mind was blown. It was just amazing to see what these students could do. And I was able to speak with Mr. Ari Weir, and he was explaining how it, did I get his name right? Ira, sorry, thank you. But he was explaining how these students are using English skills, math, science, they're using everything, but leadership skills, they are actually put into managerial type situations where they're learning how to manage a team and do these things. And it was pretty cool. I went home because it is an all-day affair. I did not go to all day, but I was there long enough to see Team Ari's, Team Leo, and the Fremont team, and it was so exciting. But I went home and was able to watch it on YouTube thanks to Team Leo, who that's part of one of the things that they learn that they do. So I also was able to speak with a parent and singing the praises of it. You know, the sad part is it takes money, you know, and it's $500 for each student to be involved because the materials and stuff are so expensive. And it just would be nice if we can try to figure out how we can get more of the community involved in that. And because it's a very beneficial program. Many of them students go on to be engineers and other types of careers. So kudos, it's fun.
I have nothing to add.
Director Johnson?
Thank you, Chair Cotton. I'm pleased and honored to share some personal excitement. Month of November at Fir Grove, my granddaughter's daughter, AKA great granddaughter, was one of the students recognized for achievement and award. My wife and I were very excited to go see that fourth generation move forward. So that was exciting. But with regards to our strategic plan, I have nothing to add. I'd just like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Andrew?
Nothing for me today.
Okay. And
Nothing report wise yet. Well, I'm on the policy committee, so there will be some things coming down. There will be changes. I'm sure that we'll need to be amending some of our policies based on the, you know, current recently passed laws. But I do, I noticed that there was a lot of donations and giving by individuals and just that, you know, always is great to see individuals in our community that recognize that this is a good place to invest in and do your donations, end of the year donations, because there's need here and it's going to benefit the whole community. So I just appreciated seeing that, and also wanted to thank Howard for his expertise in like the audit, and I tried to pour through a good part of it, but I had to check with you, say anything here that is questionable or that we're concerned about, and so really value your help on that. And Merry Christmas to everybody.
so I have a couple things, and I can say it because the director's report, probably should keep my mouth shut, but I'm not going to. I'm not surprised, but I was deeply saddened by what we were told this evening from public participation. sorry that their daughter and the kids and adults are having to go through this. And I got up to go out and tell them personally how sorry I was. And I also told them that we are going to do something positive out of this. And that is my commitment, and I'm sure the commitment of this whole board. No child should go to school and have to put up with this stuff, period. And that's gonna stop. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we're gonna figure something out. I was also deeply disappointed by the Phoenix School report. I thought they slammed Roseburg School District. And that's not, you don't do that in a public meeting. It was embarrassment. And when I can call Thomas or the board, their board chair, I'm going to tell them, don't come to our board meeting when you're to give your quarterly report and talk to us the way that you talked to us and slammed us the way you slammed us. And maybe it's just me, but I'm not stupid. If you can't say something nice or brag up your school, then just keep your mouth shut. So sorry, I'm a little wound up. It's been an awfully long day. And, but I'm sure I'm not the only one on this board that felt the same way. That's got to stop. We want to help them. We want kids, we want kids to be helped everywhere where they need it, but it's not going to help when you come in here and you give a report like that. That was just disgusting. Having said that, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody. We are going to adjourn, and then the board will go into executive session, ORS 192-660-2I, and it's a continuation process of the check-in evaluation of the superintendent. And as I said last time, he's not in trouble. It's something that we do basically quarterly to build towards his yearly evaluation. So other than that, apologize for getting a little wound up, but that's just the way I am. Have a great night.